Hello, Thundercats fans. Welcome to the launch party for the incredible Thundercats Omnibus that we are doing here on Backerkit. I'm James KUHORIC, and with me is Alex DOMSKY, and we are excited to be here and talking to two awesome creators who are contributing to this fantastic project and who really have a lasting legacy with the Thundercats. Alex, do the honors.
Thunder, thunder, thunder. Thundercats! Ho! So let's bring in.
Hey, that's my line.
Mr. Larry Kenney, the voice of
Hi, everybody.
And
Welcome.
Declan Shalvey, the writer of our current run.
Yay.
Yeah, I don't have the voice.
I don't totally today. Anyway, again. There it is. There it is. Sword of Omens. Come to my hand. Does that sound like him?
Awesome. Fantastic.
It's like the guy on TV, right?
So we have
I just want to say this is so cool. Like,
yeah,
I'm just trying to act cool right now. So
indeed, we all are. The presence of greatness with Mr. Kenney here. So
thank you so much. That's nice of you. Thank you.
We are here live with a nice chunk of fans who have been waiting to chat live with us and to figure out exactly what this project is.
Good.
So we're excited to share with everyone that the big project is a fantastic oversized omnibus of the original 1985 Thundercats comics. Long out of print, impossible to find, collected, remastered, put into a beautiful book for your bookshelf. And we think really is just the ultimate collectible to have as a Thundercats fan. The book is fabulous. It's 24 issues, just beautifully cleaned up for today's audience. The artwork all touched up, printed on deluxe paper, and we've got two different versions of it. You've got soft covers for those folks who like to just read a big old chunk of books, and we've got an amazing omnibus hardcover, oversized deluxe, beautiful piece for your bookshelf. That comes in a couple different options, classic and a reimagining of the classic cover by the one and only Declan. So
Wow.
let's give the people that actually everyone wants to hear from a chance to talk and start with a couple of questions thrown to.
sure, no problem. I'll take over. No.
That would be you, Declan. That would be you.
So,
Well, Larry, you've been the iconic voice of Lion-O in the original Thundercat series. What was it like stepping into the role of such an iconic character, and how did you approach voicing him?
Well, it wasn't iconic when I started. I mean, it's one of those things where it was not an existing character, you know. That's what I meant. Like, for example, I was the voice of Count Chocula commercials and Cocoa Puffs commercials for 40 years. So those were already iconic when I started them. I just had to mimic what had gone on before. But your question was, what was it like to step into the boots of a Lion-O? It was fantastic. I mean, when I first got the call from my agent to go to the audition, I was as surprised as all the other actors were. I found out later when I got there that an animated series was actually going to be made in New York, because up until 85 or so, that when we started the Thundercats, or released in 85, we started actually in late 83, but I digress. All the animation had been done out in California before, in LA. You know, all those big old TV shows that I grew up on were all done in LA. And so this was, as far as we know, the first one to be done in New York. So I was so excited just that there was going to be animation done in New York, you know. Yeah, I was really excited. We all were. And to be Lion-O, of course, was, you know, a real thrill. They asked us at the audition to audition for two characters, one Thundercat and one bad guy, you know, a mutant. So they asked me, and they had, when we walked in, the walls were covered with illustrations of the characters, a little paragraph about them underneath, you know, because this was a brand new show. Nobody knew who these things were, who these people were going to be, or these characters were going to be, or what the show was even about. of course. So they gave us a pretty good introduction. We sat there for, I did for half an hour or so reading all the different characters, bios, if you will, and learning what the cat's lair was and all that kind of stuff. And then they would ask you to go in when it was your turn and do 2 characters. So I decided I would try for Lion-O, because I read that he was the boss. He was the Lord of the Thundercats. And I said, well, why not go for the top one, So I read for him, and I read for Jackalman, one of the mutants. Remember Jackalman? We must get the Thundercats, yes. So, and I got both of those. And of course, I don't know if everybody knows, but over the course of the 3 years it took us to record all of those 160 episodes, we each there were 5 of us in the cast, and every voice that you hear on those shows is one of us. So you had to be able to do a lot of voices, over the years. Did I answer your question, or did I ramble as I do a lot?
No, that was great.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much.
Joe, jump in and ask it, because it's funny that, like, Alex asks, what's it like to step into the iconic character? But as you say, Larry, didn't exist, so all you have is all this, artwork to go by. But right. When did you get a sense that it was like, because you must have been in that scenario loads of times and projects go nowhere, or nobody ever sees them, when did you realize that, like, something was happening with Thundercats? Because it must have taken so long between recording that first season and then when it came out.
Oh yeah, sure. Well, we I can't remember exactly, but I think the first episode went on air 4 or 5 months after we had recorded the recording.
Oh wow, that's pretty fast.
Pretty quick, yeah. It may have been longer than that. I'm not sure, but yeah, you're right. You have to allow for, and then once you've started, once you've done the first 13 episodes, let's say that you normally do 13 episodes of any show to try to sell to a network, and then if the ratings are good and they like it, they'll buy another 13. Then comes a point where it's obvious the show is a big hit and they might buy a whole year at a time. But once you started recording, you record an episode, and once you get, let's say, 10 or 11 of them done, or 13 usually, you have to take a long pause of months, because you have to allow the writers to write new stuff, and you have to allow the animators, of course, to do all that.
Yeah, so, terrible strain on the animators' hands, as they say.
Yeah, sure, because we do the voices first. A lot of people don't realize that.
I want to point out that Thundercats need a long pause.
What's that?
I'm sorry. Here you go.
So it takes a long time.
Go ahead.
No, I always wonder if I answered the last question. My mind goes in different directions, and sometimes people have to say, "That's nice, Larry," but would you answer the question?
No, you answered the question perfectly. Just want to take a quick shout out to Kenneth here, who is in the lobby watching. It's his 65th birthday, and apparently he is thrilled to be here. And
happy birthday, Kenneth! Happy birthday!
Happy birthday,
Larry. Did you have a extremely memorable moment just looking back while voicing Lion-O, or like what is like one of the most memorable moments while you were actually voicing him that sticks with you, resonates with you?
Oh gosh, there are so many. For me, one of the best moments was one of the funniest times. Earl Hammond played Mum-Ra, and played him beautifully. And those of you who know the show, and I guess everybody here does, because he wouldn't be here if you didn't know Thundercats. Well, Earl was the main bad guy, and the funny thing is when you see Mum-Ra on camera, when he goes into the transformation between a mummy and this horrible being, and he starts talking, ancient spirit of evil, and he would go, transform, and the spit would come out of his mouth. Well, Earl did that. I mean, on camera, this green ooze comes out of Mum-Ra's mouth when he's in full blast, Well, Earl, for some reason, I don't know if he thought he had to do it to be in character, but he would spit on certain, ancient spirits of evil. And we would all start backing away from his microphone, and in fact, I remember the rest of us would be reading the script, and I would always look ahead a page or two, you know, when my line wasn't coming up for a while. I like to always look at the next page and see what's coming. And whenever I saw that Earl was going to be doing his transformation in the next page or so, I'd kind of nudge everybody and say, "It's coming up." So we'd all start moving slowly away from our microphone. That was,
That's
you know,
great. So
that was one of the things, but there are a million things, of course, in recording it. I can't think of another, just a moment, you know, or one day, but the whole thing was so much fun. We had the greatest cast of people and the greatest crew and the greatest writers. And I mean, that show, the music, come on, you know, you would have, I mean, looking at it on paper, or even watching the first couple episodes before it had gone on the air, we all thought this could be good, could be great. But you never know in this business. Now you can create the greatest product, and a lot of other things come into play that may not allow it to become an iconic hit, depending on which network it's on, how they promote it, what time frame they put it on. You know, it all has a lot to do with the success of any show, whether it's animated or not. And so we just had, I think, the greatest combination of people. I remember the first time. We recorded several episodes before we ever heard the music. I remember we were all sitting there in the studio and they played that thing. We're all like, wow, this is not a cartoon. This is not music for a cartoon show, is it? I mean, it sounded more like a big movie or something, you know. And that guitar and that heavy metal music, which was totally different from any other jingle or theme song from an animated series. So when we heard that, we thought, oh, that's great. And we could tell by looking at the copy that the writing was great, you know. So all we had to do is kind of put out the best product we could and then wait and see what happens. And I do remember the moment that I knew the show was a hit. It had been on for, I don't know, 6 or 8 months. And it was nearly Christmas time. So I was shopping at Toys R Us. May they rest in peace. You remember Toys R Us? And the last time I had been there before that time, there was one aisle of Thundercats toys and action figures, and maybe 2 aisles of He-Man, 2 or 3 aisles of probably Ninja Turtles, you know, all the shows that were on back then. And this time when I walked in, I headed back to that department and I saw, my God, there's 3 aisles of Thundercats stuff. I mean, on both sides, you know. And I thought, it's a hit, you know, because they don't give out that much space to something, whether it's a grocery store or a toy store, you know, to something that's not really selling. So I thought, great. And then I noticed as I got to the section where they had the action figures, you know, of Lion-O and Tiger and Panther and all those, there were 2 young guys, boys, probably, I don't know, between 7 and 10 years of age, you know, 12, our target audience. And they were standing there, and as I slowly walked past, pretending I'm looking at the other, you know, the other toys, this one kid says, I'm gonna get Tigra, because he's the best of them, you know. Of course, that made me turn around. And the other kid said, I'm getting Panthro. I like Panthro. Well, I couldn't contain myself. I said, excuse me, guys, why don't you get Lion-O? Because he's the guy who says, Thundercats, ho! And they looked at me like I was a mass murderer or something. Like, so I thought, oh yeah, they're going to think I'm a pervert or something, trying to pick up these kids or something. So they just kind of looked at me like that. So I started walking away, and as I walked away, I heard one of them say to the other one, he didn't even sound like Lion-O. I thought, you little fart.
That's what you get for trying to get like adulation from kids. Completely backfires in your face.
My fault. That's right. But I thought if he only knew, he'd probably poop his pants. You know. So I didn't say anything about it.
But I mean, that must have been amazing because like there was no internet back then. There was no. You know, magazines took months for anything to. Yeah. You know, it wasn't. quick turnaround that there was like now, so it must have like, that was like half a year before you'd have any idea that it was even doing well, not to mention it was doing so well.
Sure.
Man.
And it takes a while for you to be able to go around and say, I'm on Thundercats, because it hadn't been on yet. Really? That's nice. It's a television show? That's nice.
Yeah. What's a Thundercat?
A Thundercat. That's right.
Larry, well, with the show focusing on the ensemble cast a lot, what do you think it is about Lion-O's leadership role that made him just such a standout character in the original series?
I think the fact that he was, when the series began, he was only 7 years old, if you recall, in the very beginning. And then when they had to go to another planet, he was put in one of these capsules, and he didn't get any older. And so when he got bigger, yes, if you buy the premise, you buy the thing, okay. He didn't get any, he was still had a little boy's brain or thought process, even when he grew to be a man. That's why in the beginning episodes after he was grown up, he still was not sure of himself, He would say, Snarf, I don't know if I can be the Lord of the Thundercats. I mean, I don't know if I can handle it and all this. And then Snarf had to, talk to him, calm him down and everything like that. But I think that the fact that he came from that, if the show, when the show had begun, the very first episode, if he had been this big macho cartoon show hero, I don't know if he would have become that big. I think the public liked the fact that we watched him go from a kid who had to learn everything from everybody else and then assume the role of leadership and do it well. I think that's part of why people like it so much.
Well, and I know nobody really cares what I think, but I mean that when I was brought on to write the new series, that was definitely one of the big things for me, because it's very hard to relate to somebody who's big and huge and powerful and heroic. What's really vulnerable about that character is that he is underneath it all a boy who's trying to figure out how to be grown up and how to lead a team. And for me, that was the thing that really kind of
and that's
got me in,
right. And that's who's watching, young kids, boys. They see somebody, they see themselves in that role. I think he's just, they don't sit there and say it to themselves, but look what this kid can do. So I think that might be a big part of it.
Absolutely. So for fans who are here for the classic stories that we're collecting, it's worth noting that we also earlier this year launched a new Thundercats series that Declan was just talking about. He's the writer. It's got some covers on it, and we have some options on the Backerkit project where you can obtain some back issues, some special issues. There's actually a couple of issues of the first series that Larry himself has exclusive editions on, and also he provides his autograph on. So we have a lot of great options, a lot of really interesting things. And Declan, I thought maybe you'd like to talk a little bit about the new run and about the story you're telling.
Oh, well, I just jumped in there and did it anyway, didn't I? But no, I mean, I was the target audience for Thundercats when it came out. I'm in Ireland. It took a little bit longer to make it over here, but I was, I was just the right age. I think I'm young enough. I'm old enough to remember it, but young enough to I was quite young when it came out, and I just remember that title sequence, and just blew my mind. And a certain voice who I can't remember who did it, but with that main character, whoever that was. No, it captured the imagination. And when I was asked if I wanted to write a new series, I didn't want to just carry on from the cartoon. I wanted to kind of make it feel a little bit more fresher and contemporary, but really hold on to the original, the characters that everybody would remember from when I was a kid. So, I had to kind of figure out what was underlying what was the most engaging story elements. And, Larry was just saying there, it's for me was definitely, it's the story of Lion-O becoming a leader. and when I kind of pitched Warner Brothers, it was all about the relationships. I mean, you always want to see people kick ass and fight the bad guys, and that's always great. But unless you care about the characters, it's not really going to matter. So for me, a lot of it was like, developing the relationships of, when the twins, Lionel was their age, and now that he's older, he's not playing with them anymore because he's got responsibilities. So there's tension there, and Panthro and Tiger would have been kind of like, mentors to him, but now he's there. Like, all with that action of him not growing up yet growing up, it just twists all the relationships. So I just always thought that was a good way to go in, and like Drew Moss just drawing the hell out of it, and I get to have my fun by doing covers as well. So it's just been a great experience. And we're like, I think I just wrote the 12th issue, so we're a year on the book now, and it's still a blast to try. And people do ask if I hear Larry's voice when I'm writing Rhino, and the answer is 100% yes.
Yeah,
It booms between my ears.
Well, from now on, when I read the comics, I'm going to picture you.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
By the way,
why do you have an Irish accent? There's Drew.
Just a quick shout out to Drew Moss, our wonderful artist who is the drawing of the current series. He just joined the chat. So what's up, Drew? It's been really great.
Drew's just done amazing work month in, month out on all the characters, and he loves drawing them all, and between the fight sequences and the drama and the romance, he can just do all of it, which is actually, I have to say, is what's really cool about Thundercats, because it has a little bit of everything. It's sci-fi, it's adventure, it's heroism, it's a little bit of horror. It's just got lots of different genres mixed in, which makes it very fun to, from my point of view anyway. I imagine it was the same with Larry. Like, there was just all the stories would just go everywhere every week.
Sure. Yeah. Well, the new these new comics and the omnibus and everything are just beautiful. There are 8 or 10 different covers, aren't there? I'm sorry. There are different versions of each cover, as I recall from having seen. I've only seen a few of them, but it's just a really beautiful combination of
I can show you. I did a homage cover based on the original 80s book. I can show you here actually the actual artwork for it.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
that's beautiful.
You'll see the colors there, but
yeah.
That was very fun because we're doing a new version with Dynamite, myself and Drew. So it was I actually really did feel like a kid drawing this, because you forget, like, you watch TV and then you're drawing the characters in your sketchbook. So to actually draw the original ones was I'm 42 now, but I felt like I was 12 again.
Yeah, that's number one. I think that's number one that you're holding up, isn't it, guys?
Yeah, and both these will be the covers of the main oversized deluxe omnibus hardcover that has all 24 issues. But there are 2 trade paperbacks in 12 issues each, and that features volume 1, which is issue number 2, and volume 2, which is issue number 17. And again, there are all 24 issues are collected. It was Marvel Star, and the Star series was basically a little imprint that Marvel could do more animated stuff, not necessarily for kids, but basically animated universe stuff. I know they had some Star Wars titles, Ewoks and Star. I think Strawberry Shortcake had a Star, but the Star comics, they're not too common, and they're definitely hard to find for major popular series. So finding all 24 issues is definitely a collector's dream and a challenge. So while you can still hunt for the back issues, which never will end as fun, enjoyable search, now you can still read all 24 original issues, as well as the current series, which has 10 issues, as well as there's 2 spin-offs, Thundercats Chitara, which just finished up its 5-issue run, and Thundercats Apex, which came out, which actually comes out tomorrow. It's coming out tomorrow, so this is a nice oversized one-shot with a major reveal in here. So this is definitely going to affect the next few issues in the series. And I know there's more spin-offs to come. And that's because there are some amazing, incredible Thundercats fans that are here. Just want to give a quick shout out to everybody that's here that's in a Thundercats fan group, be it on Facebook or Reddit or the Great Thundercats Discord that we have great talks in. So these fans are just so passionate and so amazing to keep this property just alive.
Well, kind of interesting to what I was asking Larry about when he knew Thundercats was a success was we were doing our book, and the plan was just to do 12 issues, like do a year-long kind of modern reinvention or whatever. And it was really cool because you had lots of older fans who remembered the cartoon, who wanted more, so they got to read it. And there was kind of newer fans who had heard of the cartoon but never had seen it, or were starting to see reruns and stuff. So they were, and then it turned out the book did so well. Like I should be wrapping it up now, but we've just started our first year, and now we've got a whole second year planned. So I didn't realize this book was going to be such a success in the same way, I guess, that Larry didn't know that like the cartoon would be such a success.
Right. That's right. It's great, isn't it?
Yeah, people like thunder and cats together for some reason.
Good combination.
Great combo.
I'm still working on lightning dogs, but it's not going to get off the ground, I think.
So we are less than 5 minutes away from the launch. Just want to let everyone know who's excited to get a peek inside the campaign and see what all we've got in there. We've got less than 5 minutes, and you'll be able to click on the Backerkit page and just scroll right down it and see all the awesome things we've got planned for you. Some great contributors, the two gentlemen with us today, as well as original contributors to the 1985 comic, doing introductions and forwards and afterwards, and just a lot of great new material for you to enjoy alongside the classic stories. Do we have a finishing question for Larry to wrap it up?
The finishing question, that's good. I guess, what are you, I mean, it's 2020, it's about to be 2025. Larry, what are you looking forward to Thundercats in this upcoming year, I guess, just in general?
Well, of course, there was no way we could see this coming, or that I could, or, you guys have been working on this for a long time, I know, so I'm sure you're excited about today to get it out there, right? But been working on it a long time, obviously. And I'm just excited to see how this goes. I think it's going to be a great collection for people who have been longtime fans and people who are just now, the young kids now who are just starting to watch. That's one of the things I love about the Comic-Cons. I'll see 3 generations of a family will come up to the table, and they all know Thundercats, and it just touches my heart. And you guys are keeping it going, and speaking for all of us involved in the original Thundercats, thank you for doing that.
I mean, I think this has allowed us to do a lot of crazy, fun things that, because the fans have been so passionate, now we have the chance to do. So I don't know if anyone, you guys saw, but we actually announced our free comic book day title for 2025, and it's going to be our first Thundercats crossover. This is pretty cool. It's going to be Thundercats Powerpuff Girls. It's a crossover, and so I know that
really,
I think that's so cool.
An exciting title. So free comic book day, get ready for that, because again, that's our first crossover Thundercats, and who knows where they will go from there. But there's so many cool things coming, and it's just so exciting that we're able to bring life to this property in physical comic book.
But it's just down to the enthusiasm of people who actually want to, like when we were tasked with like bringing back Thundercats, I just thought it would be fun. That this is going to be really fun, like to go back and like tell stories with these characters, and then it'll be over, and then that's fine. But then just to see so much excitement for like, to bring them back, and then realizing there's so much stories where things can go, it's been great. But it wouldn't be possible without like people actually wanting to pick up the stories and read them, And
well, of course.
I'm curious, what made you guys want to decide to bring out all these old the old Marvel comics? Like, was it seeing how well the new book was doing, and like it's a big endeavor to put it together.
Well, I think that the biggest driver was simply the fan base. We've been sitting here on this end, we see all the comments popping up, and everybody, all 180 people that are here watching, keep popping in their love for the Thundercats, their love for Larry, and for the new stories. I think it just simply has to do with the fan love for this particular property, for all of it, for the cartoon, for the comics, and being able to bring something back that people experienced as a kid, and they want to share with like Larry mentioned, new generations of of fans, their children, their children's children. It's just a really big deal for everyone, and being able to do it is certainly an honor on our part, and we're thrilled to be able to supply these long out of print, hard to find comics in a nice collector's package for all the fans out there.
So
my soft pitch is, if the book does amazingly well, is have like in a birthday card you can have a little sound, as if you could open it up and Larry could go thunder. Yeah, it's not right.
There you go.
If only the budget was there.
Another revenue source.
There you go. We'll have to look into that.
So we are live. We are live. The project is live. So if you guys want to head over to the link is I believe the link is posted right here in the I mean, they're on the page, so it should, but yeah, so check it out, guys. There's a lot of cool things offering. And we appreciate you guys just watching and being here with us, of course.
So as we're wrapping things up here, we want to give Larry and Declan a chance to say any last thoughts you have or anything you want to say to the fans. And we want to thank you ahead of time, again, for spending some time with us and for talking to everybody about your experiences and your love for Thundercats.
Well, I just want to thank you. And I just want to thank all the people watching and fans everywhere. Listen, if it hadn't been for the fans, we wouldn't be sitting here talking about this today, would we? And I want you all to know that all of us involved in Thundercats love you very much for that. I still see a few of, there aren't that many left of us, but Peter Newman, Tigra is still around, and Lynn Lipton, who's Chitara. We're the only ones left, but we're keeping it going thanks to you.
I'd just like to say to the fans, I don't care about any of you. I just wanted to talk to Larry Kenny. I'm sure you all understand. I wanted to talk to Larry Kenny. I got to talk to Larry Kenny. So that's all. I'm just kidding.
There you go.
Okay,
fantastic.
Well,
seriously, though, really, thanks to everybody. Like again, I hope I made it clear. Like the support of the book's been amazing. I got what I wanted.
Thanks, guys. It's been fun. Now, the rest of you, get over there and buy them.
Larry, does Lino want to leave us with a thank you?
I certainly do. Be good. Pay attention to the code of Thundera and buy these comic books. Thunder, 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 Thundercats. Ho!
Awesome. Fantastic.
Thank you, guys,
Larry.
so much.
Appreciate it. Take care, everyone.
Thank you. Take care.
Guys.
Thanks a million, guys. Cheers.
All right.